Now, Candace Owens responded, and I want y'all to hear what Candace had to say about it. Roll the clip.
And you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this. No.
I'm sorry, but that whole thing right there is frustrating. And I'm going to explain to you why I just do not accept any of that. First and foremost, the idea that she does not have time. Okay, she definitely has time, okay? She's done Hannity, she's done The Five, she's done Fox and Friends, she's done Outnumbered, she's done Megyn Kelly Live, she sat down with the New York Times. She made time, by the way, in case you don't remember, to fly to D.C. for Sergio Gore to be sworn into the ambassador to India, as the ambassador to India, which feels kind of obscure and not necessarily related to Turning Point USA affairs, building affairs, or whatever it is. But sure, that's fine. I mean, obviously, you're also allowed to be a person if that's the homie and that's what you want to do. Sure. To that point that people are making hundreds and thousands of dollars, I just don't get how there's not someone on this very large PR team, as we're seeing these PR campaigns go out, that doesn't go, hey, maybe we should strike that. They made $40 million like 2 nights ago at Mar-a-Lago. Maybe that feels kind of a little bit like let them eat cake-ish. Oh, and we've made more than, separately from Mar-a-Lago, Turning Point USA, since Charlie was killed, just so you guys know, this is a fact, has made more than $100 million. That is separate from the $40 million they made at Mar-a-Lago the other night. So since Charlie has died, that organization has taken in $140 million. But gosh darn you people that are making hundreds of dollars every day on YouTube talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination and the BS narrative that is being fed and the very obvious psychological operation that is being employed to make you accept the BS that they are trying to sell to us. Gosh darn you. Did you make $1,000 today? Speaking about Charlie Kirk, well, you should be ashamed of yourself, says Turning Point USA, who in large part made that money because of those very people who gave to the organization immediately following Charlie Kirk's assassination. And the thing that is especially absurd about that is trying to almost like, I want to be clear that Turning Point USA is my family. The Charlie Kirk show is my family. She's just expanding the wings of people that we're not allowed to critique because they're in the family. If you call them fam, you can't critique them, right? Oh, I'm sorry. We actually are showing a clip of Rob McCoy defending a pedophile or trying to launder the reputation of, that's fam. That's the CK show fam. Oh, I'm sorry. We are actually pointing to the fact that we know for certain that this person or organization is a sexual deviant. That's fam. That's my bat. Don't you get me upset. I know that this is a now $150 million in the last 3-month organization and we employ tons of people, but you can't critique. You can't critique the fam. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to be very clear here. This is why there are many people who do not believe that women are equipped to lead companies, because what you are watching here is an unbelievably emotional response that is absent of any logic. Okay. If you really care about your team, answer the questions. Okay. Just demystify the entire event. Come out, sit down, answer the questions so people don't think Turning Point USA looks so suspicious. Don't try to mom the organization and say, well, mother's upset because people are coming after her kids and all of this multi-million-dollar subsidiaries. That's my children, okay? The multi-million-dollar subsidiaries, Turning Point, like Turning Point Action, all that, those are my kids, so you can't critique them. Not a good idea. Okay, it may work in PR world. You guys, I know how it's an obvious PR campaign. It's never been more obvious of a psychological operation. I actually wish they would put me on payroll so I could help them make these things look more organic than having every single person that has been telling us to stop asking questions all make the exact same video within 4 seconds of each other, being like, whoa, Erica Kirk shuts down. No, she didn't even respond to one of the conspiracies. She gave us emotion.
Now you have seen Erica's response, Candace's response. And now I got to tell y'all and get in the middle of this. And I'm going to tell you why. I have been talking about this before Turning Point ever even stood up for themselves one time. I have been talking about this and saying the same thing that Erica said before Erica ever said anything about it. Holding the line since the very beginning, the day that Charlie Kirk lost his life. And it's a shame that people are coming after me over this stuff. And now I got to address this because people are silly as a mother. That's the first thing. Second thing, I'm sick of y'all in the inbox telling me who I should be friends with. Let me just be very blunt with you. Candace Owens is family to me. She's my friend and she's going to always be my friend. That doesn't mean I agree with her. I don't agree with nothing that she's doing or saying. I don't agree with it. I still love her. She's still my friend. I still pray for her. I still got her back. But at the end of the day, Two people that are best friends or good friends can disagree with one another. And I disagree. I don't know how many times I got to say this to you clowns. And then you want me to say her name, say her name. You know exactly what I'm talking about, but you want me to say her name because you want drama. Then you claim you don't want drama. Then you claim you're sad because the drama is happening. Why are y'all bickering back and forth with Charlie Kirk and other? But you want me to blast my friend. Somebody that got my back before you start following me. Somebody, me and her been friends before I ever was popular, before I ever was famous, before you ever knew anything about me. Half of you clowns, if the rubber hit the road, you will turn your back on me. And I believe that's something that my friend has never done, is never turned her back on me. She disagreed with me and I disagree with her, but she ain't gonna turn her back on me and I'm not gonna turn my back on her. The same thing with Charlie. How many times do you see Charlie blast Candace Owens online? That's why I'm sick of y'all, man. It's a double standard. Charlie Kirk never blasted Candace Owens online, never said her name. Erica Kirk just got on Fox News and didn't say Candace's name. But y'all crying about me saying her name. It's not really about the person, it's about the action. It's about what I believe about the topic. And so for you clowns out here, unfollow me if you got a problem with what I say. Unfollow me if you want me to blast Candace and put a name out there because you want a minute of controversy. When you don't have to live with none of it because you don't know none of these people. All right, now let's get to the topic here. Candace Owens obviously said some things about Erica Kirk, and I don't understand. That's like my biggest principle here, my biggest focal point here, my biggest line of frustration. I just don't understand. I don't understand. And Erica Kirk came out and said some things that made me emotional because I could only imagine what she's going through in a time like this. And I just do not understand. And people want me to say, Candace ain't the only person that's saying certain things about Turning Point and saying certain things about this controversy and talking about conspiracies. So it's not really about Candace alone. You see the people in her comment section? All of them believe the same thing. All of them are pushing the same message. So let me get to let the main thing be the freaking doggone main thing. I do not understand why anybody would think that Turning Point set up Charlie to kill him. There's no evidence of it. It never has been evidence of it. I've been saying this from the beginning, even before Erica ever said anything about it, even before Turning Point ever tried to defend themselves. I was defending them from the beginning, saying they ain't got nothing to do with this. I was defending Terrell, saying he ain't had nothing to do with this. I don't think Andrew and them had anything to do with him getting killed. I think this is a very simple, basic thing. The simple, basic, plain language of it is that there was a leftist lunatic that hated Charlie because he was incredibly effective. They couldn't beat him when they argued, so they killed him. Ineffectiveness from security, ineffectiveness from the police, ineffectiveness from a whole bunch of different angles that led to Charlie Kirk's death. And Charlie Kirk himself did not listen when they told him to go indoors and couldn't be outside. Now, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying this is how this thing happened. Now, Charlie Kirk believed in God and he was going to do what he believed was best, and he died over it. And I think that he can live with that, for lack of better terms. I think Charlie Kirk knew.
Let's try that again. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me here on Conversations with Taz for yet another installment of the Kirk Conspiracy. I told you we'll keep doing this as long as more or new information comes out. Now, I started with that video because there's a weird thing going on with Black conservatives online. There are some that are truly clamoring to get the attention of Erica Kirk. They want that TPUSA paycheck. And right now, Erica Kirk is a cash cow. She is a cash cow. She is raking in millions of dollars with virtually everything that she's doing. She is positioning herself to be looked at as someone who needs to be saved. But it's very clear that she does want to be a viable head of a company. She wants to turn TPUSA into a conglomerate. But you cannot do that while perpetually positioning yourself as someone who needs to be saved, as the damsel in distress, as the mama bear. This is not a mom and pop organization. And this is where the comparisons between her and Tammy Faye Baker, they do make sense. They are intertwining. Because she's like, oh, think of me as mama bear, but also you're more upset about people, rightfully so, questioning TPUSA, questioning the inner circle of your slain husband, and coming up with conspiracy theories because There's no investigation. Yeah, there's the beginning of a trial happening right now. But as I keep saying, how viable is this trial going to be when there's no autopsy? There's no ballistics report. There's nothing to connect Tyler Robinson, who they're putting on trial for the murder of Charlie Kirk, to the crime. There's no forensics evidence. Don't we have enough waste of our taxpayer dollars as is? Don't you know? 'Tis what it is. Let's go through the most recent videos and quote unquote conspiracy evidence that's been placed around the web thus far.
To the list of shady things that TPUSA is doing. Tonight, while watching Baron Coleman on YouTube during his live, someone commented that Dan Flood was no longer on TPUSA's website. So he quickly went to the website, not find him, and then he pulled up archive.org and pulled up randomly like October 7th, and Dan Flood was on there. He's not currently. And someone else pointed out that Mikey McCoy is also not on the website. So why are they removing them off the website if they're currently employed? And if they're not employed, but everyone has all of these suspicions about them and all of these questions, why won't they address anything? So I would like to know why they took them off of their website. Either they were fired, they resigned, or they're hiding something. What do you think?
Especially since previously these were people that such positive adjectives were being used before their names to describe them when discussing them. It's really weird. And no, you don't have to explain every move you make in a company. But when someone dies in a company, tragically, unexpectedly, and then there's a big shuffle in regards to employees, it's best to explain it, especially if you are now trying to get ahead of the narrative that you've allowed the public to create.
Will never agree with political violence. My husband is a victim of it. I'm a victim of it. But what I'm trying to say here is that we can blame everyone else. We have to look in the mirror when you become a father, when you become a mother. How are you raising your kids? Are you taking responsibility, or are you giving them a device and saying, go down that rabbit hole? I'm trying to go to Pilates class. You can just sit in the corner and look at your iPad or look at your phone and go down that rabbit hole and see what you can learn from that instead of being a parent. So my call to action from that is, parents, step up. Do you want your kid to be a thought leader or an assassin? That's where we're. Do you think our political leaders have a responsibility to turn the temperature down right now? Well, I think everyone has a responsibility to do that, and I'm doing my part. I'm not in control of other people.
Your husband made a living by taking political talking points from whoever would cut the check for him and spewing it. He enjoyed spewing racial tropes. He enjoyed igniting and keeping the fires of political violence trimmed and burning. Did you pay attention to who he was and what he was saying? Because there is a way to change the image and the talking points of TPUSA, and this isn't how to do it. Yes, you have garnered a lot of attention from people who had no idea that your husband existed until he was no longer a part of the census. But there are those of us that do know who he was, that do know what Turning Point USA stands for. Including that for quite a while on your Turning Point USA website, it didn't say anything about free speech being the goal of the company. But let's continue.
The enemy would love for me to be angry. He would love it. He would love it.
To say it, I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus.
Okay, RFK Jr. in the skirt. The enemy, aka the devil, would be happy if you were angry. You're not angry at the person you proclaim took the life of your husband, but you're angry at his friend asking questions that you as the widow should be asking. You're upset with his friend being more in grief than you are as a widower. You are selling a narrative that does not match up with your life. You are poorly cosplaying a character that clearly isn't even in the same county as who you are. And once again, let me say this. There's a way to do this. It's not the way that you're doing it. From everything that I researched about Erica Kirk, I would have thought that she would have been more media savvy than to do things in the way that she's doing now. And especially because of the inner circles that she has been able to infiltrate, you would think that the media literacy would be better. You would think that she would have enlisted the assistance of those that know how to manage a crisis in the public eye. But ego is one hell of a drug.
Hey, Erica, why does this picture exist with Netanyahu's son before you even met Charlie Kirk? Life is crazy. You meet crazy people. You're Charlie's wife, so he had to have been talking to you about Netanyahu asking him to come to Israel and him turning him down and him wanting to be more anti-Zionist and questioning his faith, questioning the evangelicals, because he was talking to Candace Owens about it. If he was talking to Candace Owens about it, he was definitely talking to his wife about it, right? I don't know what you're talking about. He never questioned anything. But he was. Candace Owens has receipts. So why within a month of all of this did he get murked and then now you took over Turning Point USA as CEO and then are continuing his legacy? But he wasn't trying to do what you're doing. He was actually trying to change his entire direction. And you're acting like that never happened. Because it never happens. Candace is just a conspiracy theorist making a lot of money off of my husband's death. Well, it looks to all of us like she's the only one investigating anything. So there's nothing to investigate. Stop. He was discussing this with Candace. He was discussing it with you. So I said, stop asking questions. It's over. They have the guy. And I forgave him.
And that's the thing. What really stuck out to me with this change in narrative and the wanting to appear strong and stoic and no longer falling apart and I must be the protector of TPUSA is the one who has made the most money off of this whole thing and off of Charlie Kirk is his wife. And I said this the other night, to say that Turning Point USA is your family when you have, as far as I know, literal children. Once again, as I said before, daddy's not coming home. They're confused, even if they're accustomed to, possibly going a couple days without seeing their father because he travels for work. But now mommy's not there. Is there a grandparent there? Any aunties, uncles? Anyone familiar? Because right now, what's going to be cemented for these children is whatever's going on in the lives of the nannies or nanny that's taking care of them right now. You're talking about what should be the responsibility of parents and how to avoid your child becoming an assassin. Why not talk about responsible speech, educating yourself before speaking, and the importance to not just house children, but to raise them? And some people want their children destined to be an assassin. You know, the people who enjoy cutting you checks, Erica.
What was Charlie Kirk married to?
Everyone loved Charlie.
Yeah.
I get that. Everyone wants an answer to this evil. And sometimes the answer is very clear.
Yeah.
The truth is very clear.
Every single interview she does, I just feel more and more like heaviness in my soul, because now I'm like, what is it that Charlie found out? What is it? What was so evil and diabolical that they had to take him out because they knew that he would tell the world? And now I'm wondering if it was her. Did Charlie find out that his whole life had been set up and staged, and she was really there to just keep him in line? Everything that he stood for is like, it's gone. Okay, he stood for asking questions, for finding truth, for prodding narratives, for researching, having difficult conversations, all of that. He built his whole legacy on that. And she is the antithesis of that. I also think if we truly could see the inner workings of this, the pits of hell would be exposed, because this is spiritual. This is not Erica versus Candace. This is the devil versus God. And you need to pick a side, because the demons are coming for us. They're revealing themselves. They are out to play. They're not hiding anymore. You need to pick a side. And I pray that you pick Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, this one left, like, I had goosebumps recording this, because it was just so, like the evil was oozing off the screen. That's all I can say.
I'm going to continue to ask, did Erica Kirk actually know anything about her husband? And a lot of times we tend to ask these questions of men when it comes to their wives, as if just a non-attentive person is a non-attentive person. This is one of those times where there's really no gender aligned to it, but we tend to get more examples tossed out into the public sphere when it comes to men, because it does not seem as if this woman paid attention to anything or anyone outside of herself until his death. And once again, to the powers that be regarding this investigation, why hasn't anyone sat down and spoken to her? Why hasn't she been, or maybe she has, and we just don't know about it. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like it. Why isn't she being questioned about her affinity to choose interviews that more than likely she's getting paid for over grieving?
Hey guys, okay, so Erica Kirk just went off on conspiracy theorists, basically saying that there's no difference between real investigative work and crazy rants. It was a direct shot at Candace Owens for exposing the information about the secret high-level military meeting in Arizona, where Charlie Kirk's head of security detail, Brian Harpole, was sitting with top generals just days before the assassination. I really recommend everyone watch Baron Coleman's latest episode. He's been doing some amazing work tracking the planes and also the weird Google search spikes for months. Anyway, it's really hilarious. He absolutely loses it over the fact that Erica, Kash Patel, Trump, and the rest of the MAGA crew aren't asking a single question about why Charlie's bodyguard was even in that room. Barron basically says that their silence makes them look complicit. And I agree.
Once again, I still have this question. No full investigation has occurred. Even before anyone was in custody, We still have not, the public has not been made known of a motive of anything. Why not be talking about the fact that you're trying to get every bit of information possible over to investigators? Why aren't you all at Turning Point USA on high alert? Because if you're saying that this is politically motivated, that this was a radicalized individual against freedom of speech and the First Amendment and all of these things, why so quick to just go back to business as usual? Why isn't there heightened security for Erica and the children and the top echelon, the higher echelon of Turning Point USA? It doesn't make any sense. But maybe it's just me.
This is shocking. I've always said I believe Candace just because I believe her to be credible just by her body language, how she interacts. But I just saw that there's an account, Fueled by Faith, on Turning Point USA or something like that.
My name is Amanda. I worked for Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk for 4 years.
This is an ex-employee from Turning Point USA that worked in the donor department.
I was a donor relations officer because I worked with all the donors within a certain region.
She dealt with the donors in some capacity, and she openly admits that she is not a Candace Owens fan.
Not a Candace Owens fan.
She said that the stuff that Candace Owens is referring to about the, I guess, the corruption within the Turning Point USA organization.
I felt like I had to say something. It took me so much towards the end not to tell donors to take their money elsewhere.
Now, she didn't specify anything about Charlie Kirk, but it sounded to me, the way I understood it, is the people running the organization. She said, to quote, the worst of the worst.
The people that are behind it all, the worst of the worst. There are serious backings to whatever her claim is. I've seen it.
So the way I see it, and from watching Candace Owens, is Charlie Kirk started something great, or started something that he believed in, his mission. And the people that flocked in and started helping him raise money, the people he hired, the organization just seems to have gotten out of control. And you have to go watch. This woman only has about 1,000 followers. She only has 2 videos on her account. And if you watch what she says, you can tell she is completely credible. And she left the company. And I'm telling you right now, this just shows that Candace Owens is on top of this. And all the people out there trying to discredit her, if you're being paid to discredit her, that's one thing. I mean, that's just the nature of the internet. But if you're just discrediting Candace Owens because you just feel like you have to discredit her, and you don't watch her podcast, and you're not following what she's doing, she is pointing out and exposing some serious issues in just the world political scene. And it seems to be very gross. It seems like she's onto something. But listen to Fueled by Faith. Go check it out, because this is just an ordinary person stepping up and saying, yeah, there's something behind what Candace is talking about. Call the mortgage engineer. Let's get this done, people.
It would have better served Erica Kirk to diversify Turning Point USA. Again, bring Candace back into the fold. Market it as the two people closest to Charlie Kirk that cared the most about him reconnecting, joining forces to save his legacy and take it to a whole nother level. And come on, ladies, let's pick up where the guys left off. Let's save conservatism. Let's win this one for the Gipper. Because at this point, having former employees speak out, removing employees from websites, and slowly just not talking about certain people after making them somewhat the center of the narrative surrounding the passing of Charlie Kirk is idiotic. But when you are so driven by ego that you think that you can just pull the wool over people's eyes because you're the grieving damsel in distress, that's eugenics option. This is what you get.
Well.
But he was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone.
Well, look who it is. Miss, I ain't got time to answer questions about my husband. But you've done 2 more interviews since my video that I posted yesterday, with that being one of them, and then the CBS interview dropping tomorrow. Now, there's 2 things that stood out to me with this clip. Number 1, Candace said that Charlie was done with the pro-Israel cause, and he texted multiple people and said that. Those people came out and said she was lying. She ended up dropping the text messages with them on the text thread, showing that she was telling the truth. But you had his phone the whole time. So why didn't you come out and validate that Candace was telling the truth? Do you let your Turning Point family go at Candace, say that she was lying, got caught in a lie, then said that how dare her drop private information when you had the evidence to prove that she was right the whole time? Then after her proven to be right, you still think that she's the crazy lady and Turning Point USA is your family. Then number 2, I think Erica may have took the bait. Because her saying that Charlie never sent messages out saying that his life was in danger and they're after him and threats, her saying that he never sent that out because she has his phone, when Candace has been saying plenty of times that he has sent several messages out, one of them specifically being the night before. If Candace comes with that proof today, because I feel like she's been holding on to it for this moment, if she comes out with that proof today and drops the name, Erica, Shabbat Shalom. I don't know what that means, but in this context, that means you're cooked.
And that's the thing. You cannot put up this narrative, don't come after my family. Turning Point USA is my family. When you are consistently contradicting what your family is putting out as the official narrative, you are not defending your husband. You're not calling for justice. You're not upholding what he stood for. Nothing. And to keep him, well, she didn't have to put out private messages. You didn't have to let false narratives go out. You are claiming that you want justice. You could have easily said, hey, we can't discuss this right now. Let's not forget this is an open investigation. Yes, they have somebody in custody, but this may be something that's brought into court. Let's wait until the court proceedings go through. And then, once we get a verdict, once everything's said and done, yes, I can open up the floodgates regarding information. But Erica Kirk is acting as if seemingly the one and only, outside of his family, his sister and his parents, the one and only person on the planet who was not using Charlie Kirk and actually got to know him and truly cared about him, at least on a platonic friendship level, is Candace Owens. You should have just joined forces with her. But hey, you like it, we love it.
Okay, I'm about to show you a clip from at Baron Coleman's Real podcast from last night. He brings up some interesting, thought-provoking things. And so just watch this clip real quick.
This is from a tweet I put up today. That is what his hand looked like. Notice the hand. Look at the hand. Examine the hand. Do you see anything remarkable about the hand? I don't. I don't see anything remarkable about the hand. So let's see what his hand looked like immediately following. This is a picture taken 20-something seconds. I think 22 or 3 I counted out. And I wasn't sure exactly when it was taken, so I gave like a 2-second window. This is his hand taken immediately after. What does that look like to you? That's not blood. That's not blood.
So I guess what I'm saying is you need to go go on YouTube, look for Baron Coleman, watch his Thursday night's episode, and he sure brings up a compelling case that Charlie may have been electrocuted.
Yes, that is the latest theory. That Charlie Kirk was electrocuted, as if millions of people did not see him bleeding from his neck. And the whole saying, "Oh, there's no blood on his hand." For the love of all things holy. I told you all I would bring you the information. That's all I got on this one. Moving on.
We need to do a better job of educating our citizens about our court systems. A lot of people don't know how an actual trial plays out. I am very curious about how the United Healthcare case plays out. We are living in a day and age where social media can absolutely impact. I feel it can. The reason I say that is because I don't want a tainted jury pool. I want justice for my husband. Anytime we have leads, anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. We're not messing around. None of us are involved in my husband's murder. None of us. Turning Point USA, myself, any of these other crazy accusations, none of us.
Okay, so this is what I mean, where I just feel like we're just doing the same thing over and over and over again in politics, where you can just apply any situation. Like it's how it starts. It's like they come up with a narrative and it feels really stupid. You could like apply this to COVID, whatever. And then people start asking questions because it feels really stupid. And then they tell you like, oh, I wish you guys were more educated about science. I wish you guys were more educated about doctors and nurses, and like, you're just not there. I wish we could explain to you how these things work. But you're going to have to trust the experts. And yeah, I actually think that also because you guys are not trusting the experts, we're going to have to censor people on social media as they did during COVID, because social media is problematic. Actually, the problem is free speech ultimately, right? Like the problem is that you have people on social media who are talking common sense and they don't understand this. Okay. That's like, that doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me, and it shouldn't work for you.
He's just such a good thought leader. He blessed us with laser focus on the mission, on saving this country. But instead, we're so focused on who did what. Like, yes, we will figure all that out. Yes, this is a murder case. He did not die in a car crash. Yes, that will be handled. But my husband's legacy is not about his murder. My husband's legacy is what he left behind.
I just reject that. Okay, I reject that there's a higher calling that we need to all get around and the legacy. If we find out that the government is implicated, then actually his legacy is going to be that a person who gave all of himself to helping people get elected, all of himself to this political machine, was ultimately killed by it. And I think that matters to a lot of people.
Where is this laser precision of Charlie Kirk? Number one. Number two, Erica Kirk previously said, hey, they got the person who did this to my husband. This is why I'm not asking all these questions and going into an investigation. That's what she said previously. Now she's like, oh, well, when we get leads, we're passing on leads for what? If you believe that the person who killed your husband is Tyler Robinson, who just had a court appearance a few days ago, what leads are there to give? And why would anybody be giving you leads? Why aren't you publicizing a number, an email address, a website to give tips? Why hasn't that been set up? Why are you the intermediary? Because I would think that somebody in the throes of grief would not be the best person or persons to deal with this. Because if everybody at Turning Point USA was just so close, and they're so riddled with grief, and you all wouldn't be a good vetting process. Why in all of these interviews aren't you saying, hey, if you have any additional information, if you have any footage, if you have any of this, do what we did and turn it over to insert information here. You're focused on his legacy and not justice for him. Justice doesn't even seem to be on the bucket list for you at this point. Okay.
Why would you release private
text messages?
So you can't. They create this scenario where you can't win, no matter if you prove them to be liars. You shouldn't have done it. It was inappropriate. And if you don't prove them to be liars, then you're the one who's lying. And so I can't get over again that they think this is going to work. And so I just wanted to bring this up. Erica Kirk. Now there's a new one where you have relayed information that Charlie Kirk told people the day before he was killed, that he said they're going to kill me. And so Erica was asked about this by Glenn Beck. I miss how he used to cry all the time. I don't know why he doesn't do that anymore. I miss it, but he was my favorite crier. But here we go. Here's what she had to say about it.
I have unbelievable amounts of death threats. My kids have kidnapping threats, death threats. Our whole team has death threats. We knew that there was always going to be a threat, but Charlie and I.
So, I just want to stop it for a second. This isn't the point of this video, but she kind of makes it sound like this is new. She's admitting right there, this is not new. This has been always. This has been so people. It sounds like they're trying to make it out like you are creating these death threats. Other people have.
Yeah.
And it's just she's there admitting that we always knew, she said, and they always were receiving death threats. So it's not, I don't know why they bring it up because it's not new. But anyway, here we go.
We promised each other we would never live in fear. And he would say, if they're going to get me, they're going to get me. But he was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone.
Okay. Well, the problem is we have Frank Turek saying that he did say that. So here, let me play that.
And so I texted him. I said, Charlie, I hope you've increased your security detail. And he said, I have. I know they want me dead. Now.
So, what? Just go. What? Go ahead. Take it where you would like on that, because they're here again. We have these people calling you a liar, and yet we have Frank Turek saying exactly, and then so they keep contradicting each other unwittingly, and that. It indicates that someone's lying. And as you always point out, the only reason you would lie is to cover something up. So take it where you want.
Well, here's what I'm just going to tell the truth. Okay. I did not see that she had said that when I did my show yesterday. And then I saw it after. And I can tell you 1000% that Andrew Colvett told me the night before Charlie was murdered that Charlie Kirk texted him and said, they are going to kill me. Andrew Colvett is the person who received a text message from Charlie Kirk saying they're going to kill me. And I'm not getting that third party. I got that directly from Andrew Colvett. He asked me to keep it off record, and I would have kept it off record if Erica did not imply that I lied, right? So, I mean, I'm not saying she is saying Candace is lying. I am saying that since I was the one who put it out there, she's implying that I'm lying and that that's not true. So we have a scenario here where either Andrew Colvett has told an explicit lie or Erica Kirk is telling an explicit lie. It's not up for me to determine who. I didn't receive that text message, but yeah. And I also was told by a person at Turning Point USA, who I'm not going to name because they are one of my sources, that Dan Flood received the same message. So there you go. I don't know. I believe that she has his phone. I maybe somebody deleted it, but I don't know why Andrew Colvett, 48 hours after Charlie was dead, would lie to me. He did not sound like he was lying. He sounded very concerned about it. And I specifically said, like, who is they? Like, you know, like he said, they're going to kill me. And he said, I don't know who he was talking about. And I thought it's kind of weird. Yeah, that's what I can tell you. I can just tell you the truth.
Here's my thing. If death threats were something that they had experienced for a very, very long time, one, why wasn't there heightened security? Two, Erica has said multiple times that when she got the news, she was at a treatment facility for her mother. Why wasn't there security there? Why wasn't security sent to alert her and ensure that she was okay? If people have threatened their children, why isn't she with her children right now with heightened security? If that was the case, why would she allow her husband, by her own admission? We've gone over this previously in previous episodes of this. Why did she sleep apart from her husband? Why did he leave for the day and not say goodbye? We'll conclude with this video. It's a bit longer, but here you go.
Recently, Candace said that Egyptian registered aircraft were following Erica Kirk, Charlie's widow, around for a number of years in different places in the world. That's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard, and I just want to say that that is factually true. That's true. So that's like the one data point that I happen to know is true. What does that mean? I have literally no idea. I can't even guess, but that's very, very strange.
And what is Egyptian? It could mean aircraft from Egypt. Who knows? I
think that they were registered in Egypt.
Got it.
And but that fact is true. So that enough, and it also her claim that, you know, there were kind of a disproportionately large number of foreign registered cell phones at the event. That's also true. So what does that add up to? I don't know, but it means that, you know, the FBI has a moral and legal obligation to look in every direction and to be open-minded, as you would in any investigation, in journalism, in science. It's all the same process. I don't know the answer, and I'm going to sift through everything as open-mindedly as I can, as honestly as I can, to get to what the truth is. That's science, that's law enforcement, that's journalism. It's all the same. That's justice. And I just want to make sure that is happening, and I just don't have a ton of confidence in the FBI or the men who run it. And I'm not saying that out of ignorance at all.
That's a scary part too.
I'm not alleging anything. I'm just saying I think it's really important that we have that.
That is what authenticity sounds like, and that's what we're doing here. We are investigating, right? Sometimes you get something wrong, you correct it, but I was right about the Egyptian planes. And when you hear Tucker Carlson say that he is confirming that that part is true, what I take from that, Tucker Carlson has been very clear. He grew up with CIA agents, okay? This is a guy who grew up in Virginia. His father, he learned after his father died, he thought he was just working with the CIA. No, his father was on the payroll of the CIA. So Tucker's friends are in the state. So you should take it as a concrete fact that there's something up with these Egyptian planes, and they were in fact following around Charlie, and they were following around Erica, as I told you. And that means people in the NSA, the CIA, are confirming that that is real. And yet, just last week, what we got from Blake Neff, and I know he's untouchable, he's in the fam, but I'm going to go ahead and touch that and say, like, this is not okay. The vibe is not right. is making a mockery of it. That is what we mean when we say none of this is passing the vibe check with Turning Point USA. There's no clear answers. There's mockery, there's laughter, but there's no clear answers. And the mockery and the laughter is not working. Neither is this idea that, well, now the widow has spoken. We're not dealing with the widow. We want the CEO and the chairman of Turning Point USA to answer. Okay? If you can't compartmentalize, then I don't see how you're going to be able to lead this organization in the future, because Charlie worked. We knew who Charlie was because he was authentic. Okay. He didn't just go, well, I only make time for like big pocket donors. Okay. He was hitting college campuses. He was speaking to people, understanding people. He was changing his ideas and he was changing minds. And you are not changing my mind about the fact that something weird happened that day and that TPUSA is acting funny because you give it an impassioned plea and speak about Nehemiah on Fox News. Okay. None of it makes any sense. Anyways, Tucker then goes on and states the obvious predicament further, which is that we just don't have any faith in the government. Take a listen to him discussing some of these lingering questions.
Here's what I am concerned about. A lot of things. One, he acted alone. Tell me how that worked. None of us really act alone.
It's hard to go anywhere by yourself, too.
Thank you. Exactly. You acted totally alone. Okay. You're going to have to prove that to me. It's totally possible. Anything is possible. Weird things have happened. We'll continue to. But that's not my default assumption, and it shouldn't be yours. And their default assumption was we acted alone. Really? Why do you think that? What about life suggests that people typically act alone? When was the last time you acted alone in anything? I don't go, right? So A. B, we know that people had foreknowledge of this because they posted about it on X and said Charlie Kirk is going to be killed on this date, and he was.
Is that true?
Yes, it's true.
But were they just guessing? Was it a guessing thing where every day they posted that?
Maybe. Have those people been interviewed? Have they been hauled into FBI HQ and had a long conversation with how they knew that? Like, let's get really specific. Why did you post that? Who have you talked to? Like, if I were doing this investigation, because I spent my whole life doing non-criminal investigations called journalism, like, what do we know is true? How do we find out? Call everybody. Be open-minded. It's like it's the same process. If I was doing this investigation, they would be at the very top of the list. Tell me how this guy who seemed normal became a radical trans furry murderer. It's not enough to tell me, oh, trans. I'm not pro-trans, by the way.
But was that the guy or his boyfriend?
Well, exactly right. Tell me how this guy became so radicalized that he murdered a stranger. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying I want an explanation for how it happened. Why wouldn't I?
I agree.
Oh, we can't talk about that because it'll, prejudice the jury pool. Really, you've told the world that you have both a confession from him in his text to his boyfriend and the murder weapon with his fingerprints on it. I think you've got a pretty solid case. So why is it so difficult to just explain? So I have said from the beginning, if you don't like what Candace Owens is saying, why don't you call her and offer a more plausible explanation for what happened? Oh, she's bad. She's bad. Okay. I mean, I like her a lot. I don't think she's bad, but I love her actually. But let's just stipulate she's bad. But why wouldn't you do that?
Because I don't agree with some of the stuff that the rabbit hole she goes down, but I don't
even know.
But I like the fact that she likes to dig in the garden, Theo,
we are in this garden, okay? And we're not getting out of this garden with the Fed slop narrative. We're just not getting out of the garden with trying to emotionally manipulate us and say it's not. This feels like COVID, right? It's not like COVID-19. It's like Candace 19. It's another fake. They're saying it's a fake virus. Like, oh, you got infected. You just can't do it. 6 feet social distancing from Candace Owens. We're gonna get every influencer on social media. 6 feet social distancing. Save lives. What are you, a grandma killer? What, you just don't like him? What? And then Tim's all fired up. She's a C word. People are going to die if you don't get this vaccine. And I'm like, I feel like maybe the government's not telling us the truth. We're right back to that, but it's Candace 19. It's Candace 19. That's what it is. And they think that it maybe if they put the little 6 feet social distancing pads in the grocery store, that the PSYOP will win and make us believe that this is like common sense is the virus. I'm the common sense virus. It's coming around. It's so evil. Stay at home, wear a mask, save lives. You don't want to catch it. You don't want to catch the common sense, you guys. You don't want to catch it. Anyways, I dare. I'm sorry, I dare. And I have been very careful because I wasn't sure what direction she was going to go. If she was like, I was like, look, she's got a whole business that she's got to figure out. There's a lot of people in her ear. Maybe they like did this transition too quickly and she's just like keeping her head. Like, no, what she's saying is Turning Point USA is untouchable. And it's a no from me. But you know me. I'm just out here saying what needs to be said. Tucker Carlson is standing up to the nonsense. He's not speaking about Erica, obviously. He is friends with Erica. But just the nonsense of what the FBI is saying, he's wading in and saying, yeah, the FBI is not being clear in what happened. And I have questions because, and I think it feels like a blast of fresh air, because and I know many people at home, are seeing all of these people that we followed and we thought that they were heroes. And suddenly this assassination has exposed them all to be frauds. You know, like for the right price, they will join Operation Mockingbird. For me personally, that is how I feel, okay? Like people in the military that I thought were forthright, people that were journalists that I thought were forthright. I just am so let down. And I don't think I would have been able to handle if Tucker Carlson was among those people. You need hard evidence. As if the killer's going to walk in and be like, okay, here's how I did it, okay? I'm going to give you the hard evidence. I was here, there. Like, what? Instead, Tucker Carlson is coming out and he is blasting the corporate and the Fed narrative with common sense. He joined Theo Vaughn, and here is what he had to say. Take a listen.
I don't understand the official story at all.
Of his assassination,
I don't understand it, and I want to make sure that there is a truly rigorous and honest federal investigation of it, and I'm definitely concerned about that. A. B. I think that I don't know many of the details, but I know that